Welcome back to the show. The Queensland government is being accused of double standards for allowing sporting teams and their families into the state while locals remain locked out.
Sharon Gordon is right now stuck in a motel room on the New South Wales side of the Queensland border after travelling to Victoria for her mother's funeral, all while having to deal with a cancer diagnosis of her own. And Sharon joins us now from Chindra in New South Wales. Sharon, thanks for joining us this morning. We know that your request for an exemption has been denied to return to your home in Queensland. How are you this morning?
Yeah, this morning I'm okay. I have my days, they're good and bad.
Tell me about the last couple of weeks, just what you've been loaded up with.
So, we went to Mum's funeral on the 23rd of July and stayed about a week with Dad, and then we came home or we tried to come home. We had a plan to come home, and you know, it involved driving straight through without stopping in Sydney, and we finally got to the border about 2:30 a.m. on the 4th of August, and we got turned away. So we sort of sat in a car park in a BP service station somewhere in shock for about 8 hours, and then decided we need to get a hotel room. So we found this one here, and so we've sort of been here ever since. But you know, I sat down on the first day and thought, all right, well, we've got to apply for an exemption. So that's what I did. I filled out all the paperwork, got a login to the web portal, and you know, we had a plan. We were going to stay here for 14 days and self-isolate. We we're going to get COVID tests every 3 days. So we've done pretty much that. I haven't heard anything, you know, 17 days before Queensland Health responded to my exemption, and that was just an email that said that we needed to fly via Sydney. We needed to go back to Sydney and fly into Queensland and go into 14 days quarantine in hotel accommodation. I still hadn't actually spoken to anybody, but I've been ringing the Queensland, the COVID health line for, you know, and so
Yeah.
it's been pretty tough.
Well, I think we can hear it in your voice, Sharon. It's taking a real toll on you, this, isn't it?
Yeah, I do struggle. Some days it's really hard not to just curl up in a ball and cry.
Oh, sweetheart.
But I hope I'm doing better than I was, that's for sure.
And you're there on your own now too, aren't you? I know that your husband, he was able to cross into Queensland for work. You're now stuck there. You need to get to the hospital for cancer treatment and you can't get back home. Is that right?
Yeah, my husband's a truck driver, and we had talked about him being able to get across the border using, you know, a work pass, and his employer rang him up, I think about a week and a half after we'd arrived, or a week after we'd arrived, and he said, you know, can you take a job? And, you know, my husband said, well, where from? So we actually drove him out to Murwillumbah, and he picked up a truck there and he just simply drove across the border. You know, he's been in exactly the same situation as I have, and yet he can just drive across the border.
Says everything, doesn't it?
You know, something's not right.
What are you going to do? And in the meantime, which is even more difficult, you have to hear these stories of, say, for example, sporting families coming into Queensland. How does that sit with you?
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah. Go on.
That's really hard. It's not fair. You know, we live there. I live 78 kilometres from where I'm standing now. I could drive there directly without stopping. I live on 9 acres. I don't have to see anybody. I don't have to have any contact. I can easily quarantine at home. And they won't let me. And I guess I'm not the worst, you know. There's probably people who are in worse situations.
I mean, this is, to be blunt, this is where the rules suck, that people like yourself can't get home. What is your message to the Queensland government this morning, Sharon?
Put some risk mitigation strategies in place. Execute your mitigation strategies. Get people home. Get people home. They're stranded.
And you've been through enough already, haven't you?
I miss my mum every single day.
Oh.
Wish I could talk to her.
Sharon, what are you going to do?
I have to wait until the 8th of September. And then I have to apply again for another Queensland entry pass 3 days before I travel, and but I can't expect a reply with, you know, up to 10 days they'll take. And then I have to probably get a car to go to Ballina, fly from Ballina to Sydney, and then fly from Sydney to Brisbane and go into hotel accommodation. But I don't know. There's nothing on the website that tells you what I have to do.
It is absolutely ridiculous, the thought that you have to go then via Sydney, a place which is seeing, what, 1,300 cases almost a day. When you're where you are right now, there is no COVID and you could cross the border. Look, let us take up this fight. Let's put it to the Queensland government for you and see if we can have this resolved and a little common sense shown. Sharon, you stay strong, hey? We're thinking of you.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you.
She's not alone. Let's go to the Queensland border situation. While restrictions are keeping Delta out, it's also severing a lifeline for thousands of workers on both sides. Living in Kingscliff in New South Wales, Ty Alro and many of his employees are cut off from their construction business in Burleigh Heads in Queensland, and it's taking a huge mental and financial toll. Ty joins us now from Kingscliff in New South Wales. Ty, good morning to you, brother. How are you holding up?
Hey, Karl. Yeah, good, mate. It's tough down here at the moment, but we're trying to get through it as a community. There's a lot of things happening, so we're all trying to work together to make it happen as we're working both sides of the border, so it's pretty tough.
Tell us about that struggle for those who may not be familiar with it.
Well, mate, my business is based in Burleigh. I live in Kingscliff. 80% of my work is in Queensland. I've got 20% in Kingscliff, sorry. But the thing is, a lot of the trades and suppliers all live each side of the border. So, you know, to organise a job site at the moment, it's an absolute joke. Can't get it done. Cash flow is stopping. Everyone's been working so hard the past kind of 12 to 18 months because the industry's so busy. No holidays, supply issues, you know, price increases with timber. You know, this is the last thing we needed. Now we can't even work across the border. I'm the owner of the business. I can't even go to my office. A lot of my staff are unsure what's going on. We got no end date down at Kingscliff. You know, like it should be. We should have a defined date. Yeah. It's just really, really upsetting that we can't get a date to work towards.
So how are you going support-wise then for your business at a state level and also a federal level? And how long can you sustain this for?
Well, personally, we've had no support right now because our business is a little bit bigger and our turnovers are still showing okay, but it doesn't mean our profit margins are any good. It's, you know, it works on a turnover basis, which is unfortunate for us, and a lot of builders are in the same boat. I'm just more worried for the smaller guys, like the subcontractors. You know, this whole community where we live is it's all young families, and you know they can't last longer than a month to just sit around and wait for the borders to reopen.
It's a tough one, isn't it? How do you feel when you see things like NRL families going into Queensland? How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's pretty annoying. You know, it seems like there's double standards across the board here. And because we got no COVID in Kingscliff or the Northern Rivers at all, to lock it down like we are is really, really upsetting. So hopefully, you know, the state government can get something sorted, at least reopen the bubble back up or move the borders south a little bit. But right now we're all trying to struggle, get through it.
Well said, well articulated, Ty. Good to have you on the show. You're not the only one asking for that bubble to be brought back, and let's hope it happens soon for all those businesses. Stay well, my friend. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Ali.